Ladies and gentlemen, if someone can walk away from you, let them walk. Your worth was never in their validation. That's the truth most people don't want to face. We hold on to people who were never meant to stay. We beg, we cry, we chase, and we forget that someone's absence doesn't decrease our value. You're not broken because they left. You're breaking yourself by refusing to let go. What you thought was the one was really just a moment in your story, not the whole book. You gave them the pen and let them write chapters they had no business authoring. And now you sit in silence rereading every page, wondering what went wrong. It wasn't you. It was time showing you that some people are not meant to cross the finish line with you. People will leave, people you trusted, people you loved, people you thought would never walk away. But them leaving doesn't define you, it defines them. It reveals who they were when the storms came. Anyone can love you in the sunshine, but real love shows up in the rain. And if they couldn't stay through the downpour, don't beg them to come back when your sky's clear again. Let them walk. Don't curse them. Don't chase them. Don't fold yourself into pieces trying to fit into a place that was never built for your growth. You've spent too long believing the lie that you needed their love to feel like you mattered. But you mattered before they showed up, and you'll matter long after they leave. Stop making their exit the measure of your worth. Your value doesn't shrink just because someone couldn't see it. It never did. You just forgot how valuable you are. You forgot what it means to be whole by yourself. You forgot that your spirit was strong before they arrived, and it'll be stronger after they're gone. Sometimes the greatest act of self-respect is closing the door behind someone who never deserved a key in the first place. You don't need to slam it, just lock it, learn from it, and keep walking, not because you're bitter, but because you're better now. Better for knowing what you don't need. Better for seeing who's real and who's seasonal. Better for finally realizing that love should never cost you your peace, your dignity, or your voice. The truth is, not everyone who enters your life is meant to stay. Some are just passing through, some were never meant to be the one. They were just the lesson before the blessing, and that's okay. Let them walk. Stop reopening closed doors just because you miss what was familiar. Familiar doesn't mean healthy. Familiar doesn't mean meant. You can't force someone to stay who's already decided to leave. That's not love. That's fear disguised as loyalty. And loyalty to the wrong person will drain every drop of purpose out of your life. Let them walk, and when they do, don't look back. You weren't created to chase temporary people. You were built to grow through permanent lessons. That's where the truth hits deepest. We waste years chasing ghosts, holding on to people who were only meant to play a part in a single scene of our story. They weren't meant to be your forever. They were sent to teach you something about who you are, what you deserve, and what you should never settle for again. But instead of learning the lesson, you made them your purpose. You put them on a pedestal they didn't earn, gave them space in your heart they never respected, and now you're wondering why you feel empty. It's because you planted roots in soil that was never meant to grow you. Chasing temporary people is a distraction from your true assignment. Every time you stretch yourself to hold onto someone who's not meant to stay, you shrink your capacity to receive the ones who are. You begin to think survival is love, that struggling for attention is normal, that being tolerated is the same as being valued. But it's not. Love doesn't leave you guessing. Respect doesn't make you beg. Connection isn't a game of who can care less. The moment you start chasing someone is the moment you forget your identity. You weren't made to beg for presence. You were made to stand in purpose. There's a reason they didn't stay. There's a reason things fell apart. That pain wasn't punishment, it was preparation. That heartbreak wasn't rejection, it was redirection. You were being shown something bigger than the moment you were clinging to. You were being called back to yourself, because deep down you knew something wasn't right, but you ignored your gut. You quieted your voice. You kept giving chances to someone who already showed you who they were. And now here you are, broken, not because of them, but because you gave more to them than you gave to yourself. But there's a shift that happens when you finally stop chasing what's temporary, when you stop trying to force people to care, to stay, to choose you. That's when you start growing. That's when the permanent lessons take root. Lessons like, your peace is not negotiable, your time is valuable, your love is sacred, And anyone who can't handle that doesn't deserve access to you. You stop settling for chemistry without commitment. You stop confusing attraction for alignment. You stop allowing loneliness to convince you to open doors you've already closed. Some people are just here to shake you up, wake you up, and show you what you've been tolerating. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Growth requires that you honor the lesson more than the loss. You weren't built to break over people passing through. You were designed to evolve, to rise, to become. And becoming doesn't happen by clinging to what's fading. It happens when you finally choose truth over attachment. When you let the temporary go and make space for what's true, what's lasting, what's worthy of your energy. Pain is not your prison. It's your professor, and class is always in session. Every tear you've cried, every betrayal you've swallowed, every night you couldn't sleep because your mind wouldn't let you forget. That was a lesson being written in the ink of suffering. But most people treat pain like punishment. They sit in it, bury themselves under it, and believe it's the end of their story. But pain doesn't come to destroy you, it comes to develop you. It doesn't show up to break your spirit. It shows up to train it, to sharpen your instincts, to teach you who's real, who's not, and who you are when the mask is off and the world gets quiet. Too often, people try to skip the process. They numb it, rush it, pretend it didn't happen. But what you avoid, you never overcome. And what you run from will meet you at the next stop. Pain doesn't disappear just because you ignore it. It waits for a quiet moment, a soft memory, a familiar scent, and then it hits again. Not to hurt you, but to remind you, you still haven't learned. You still haven't grown past the version of you that allowed yourself to be mistreated, overlooked, or silenced. But if you're willing to sit in the pain, not as a victim, but as a student, you'll come out of it with wisdom people twice your age haven't earned. Pain teaches you to be still, to stop searching for answers in people who don't have them, to stop seeking comfort in situations that keep cutting you. It teaches you how to listen, to your intuition, to your spirit, to that quiet voice inside that's been trying to get your attention for years. The one that says you were made for more, not just more success, not just more love, but more wholeness, more truth, more peace that doesn't depend on who stays or who goes. And once you hear that voice clearly, pain doesn't scare you anymore, it guides you. The world wants you to believe that strength means pretending you're not hurting. But real strength is found in vulnerability, in facing the wound without turning away, in asking the hard questions. Why did I stay? Why did I ignore the signs? Why did I let someone else write the definition of my worth? These aren't weaknesses, they're the foundation of growth. Because once you answer them, you become unshakable. Not because life stops hurting, but because you stop folding under the weight of it. Pain is the mirror you've been avoiding. And in that reflection, you don't just see the brokenness, you see the beginning. The fire that will forge the next version of you, the one that doesn't settle, the one that walks away when peace is at risk, the one that knows healing is not forgetting. It's remembering without reliving. It's choosing not to bleed for people who wouldn't even hand you a bandage. Pain is not the enemy. It's the invitation. The door you walk through to become everything they tried to convince you you'd never be. Stop calling it love when it's really your fear of being alone wearing a mask. That's not love, it's attachment, it's habit, it's the echo of old wounds convincing you that being with the wrong person is better than being by yourself. Too many people stay in situations not because they're fulfilled, not because they're respected, not because they're truly seen, but because the silence of solitude feels louder than the chaos they've normalized. They call it love, but deep down, they know it's survival. They know if they paused long enough to listen to their own heart, they'd hear the truth they've been avoiding. That this person, this relationship, this cycle, it's not feeding their soul, it's draining it. Real love doesn't make you shrink. It doesn't manipulate you into staying. It doesn't leave you questioning your worth every night while pretending everything's fine in the daylight. Fear will have you romanticizing red flags just to avoid the discomfort of walking alone. You tell yourself they'll change. You tell yourself it's just a phase. You tell yourself love is hard. But what you don't tell yourself is the one thing that would set you free. This isn't what love is supposed to feel like. Love doesn't keep score. Love doesn't gaslight. Love doesn't disappear when you need it most. Love isn't supposed to hurt more than it heals. What you're calling love is really a contract signed by insecurity. You believe if you let go, you'll never find better. You believe this is as good as it gets, so you compromise, you adjust your voice, you silence your truth. You start managing their moods more than you manage your own peace. And little by little, you disappear. You become a version of yourself built to be tolerated, not celebrated, built to keep someone else comfortable, while you lie awake wondering when you stopped feeling alive. But comfort isn't connection, familiar isn't fate, and history is not a reason to stay. You've mistaken presence for partnership. Just because someone is there doesn't mean they're with you. Just because they say they love you doesn't mean they know how. Love without action is manipulation. Love without safety is confusion. Love without growth is a cage. And if your love feels like a cage, it's not love. It's fear. Fear that no one else will choose you. Fear that time is running out. Fear that starting over is too hard. But staying stuck isn't easier. It's just slower heartbreak. One that happens day after day as you abandon yourself to hold on to something that's already gone. You can't heal in the same environment that broke you. You can't find peace in someone who thrives off your silence. And you'll never discover your full worth if you keep offering discounts to people who only show up when it's convenient. Stop calling it love when it's really loneliness bargaining for company. You deserve a love that chooses you, not just when it's easy, but when it's hardest. You deserve a love that looks like truth, sounds like peace, and feels like home within yourself first.